In the last lesson, you saw that when we build our application, Docker client takes everything in this directory, which is called the build context or the context directory. So Docker client takes everything here and sends it to Docker engine or Docker daemon. Now for this simple application, which has absolutely no features, our build context was about 150 megabytes. But why is it so large? That's the result of the node modules directory. So if you look over here, you can see tons of directories and subdirectories. And this is a very simple project. As our application gets more complex and we use more third-party libraries, this node modules directory gets larger and larger. Now, there's a problem here. Later in the course, when we talk about deployment, you will see that our Docker client will talk to a Docker engine on a different machine. So that means whatever we have in the build context has to be transferred over the network. So if you have a large build context with 1 million files in it, all these files have to be sent to the Docker engine on the remote machine. We don't want that. We don't really need to transfer this node modules directory because all these dependencies are defined in package.json. So we can simply exclude this directory and copy everything else and then restore these dependencies on the target image. And this has two benefits. The first benefit is that our build context is smaller, so we transfer less data over the network. The second benefit is that our build is going to be faster, so we don't have to wait for all these files to be transferred to Docker engine. Okay? Now, how do we exclude this directory? Very easy. You are probably familiar with this file, .gitignore. With this file, we can exclude some files and directories from Git. Now, we have the same concept in Docker. So we can create a file in the root of this project called .dockerignore, and everything is in lowercase. And here we can list the files and directories that should be excluded. So we can exclude node modules. Now, when we build a new image, Docker will no longer transfer this large, gigantic directory to Docker engine. Let's take a look. So I'm going to run the build command one more time. Good. Okay. Look at our build context. It's only 10 kilobytes. So we reduce our build context from 150 megabytes to 10 kilobytes. That's a huge improvement. There is a problem though. If we start a new container and look at the file system of that container, we're not going to see the node modules directory because we excluded it, right? Let's verify it. So I'm going to run a new container from React app and then run shell inside that container. Now in the app directory, let's look at all the files and directories. Look, we only have two directories here, public and source. So node modules is not here. This is where we need to run npm install to install its dependencies. And that's what we will do next.